Okie dokie, everybody. Here we are. It's just habit at this point. I go get the money. I don't think I need it. Or any other rooms in the house. We are here to solve the final puzzle. So I realized after making the video and going back to check, like, hey, how does this puzzle work? Because, well, I need to make sure I have it there because it's just a little bit too complex for me to memorize. There was a lot of more Jai boxes to do, a lot of words to remember, that it's so complicated that I managed to arrive at kind of a correct solution the wrong way. So I mentioned how there was that thing about we seek what's left of the lies we cast. I'm like, oh, it's telling us we have to find this path, and because there's a hue of wisdom or whatever, I'm like, we got to find a path through the color. And that's true, but there's a different book that tells us exactly what I was getting from that other puzzle. So if you remember, there's the book, a blank book in the library we saw like 10 episodes ago or whatever, that says a hidden hue. And it says, I got it pulled up over here while I set this part up. From prism pristine, 3 paths convene, 3 lines of light, 3 shades foreseen, 3 colors to count, a sum of 18, but the one left hidden remains to be seen. So there's actually 3 paths. Oh, hold on, I can't look at a map here. 3 paths into there. So once again, I'm just going to pull this up on my other screen and follow it because it's really hard to demonstrate because you can't see what we're doing. But I said, oh, okay, there's the 6 colors here. I have to find a color that'll get me to the end. Well, no, I have to find 3 colors that'll get me to the end. That's the hidden hue that we saw. So that means that I stumbled sort of into a solution when I first played this incorrectly, which makes me feel a little better that there is actually a way to get this solution that wasn't reliant on me just guessing. So we have an orange path we could try. The blue path we can't do because blue is this is the only blue lantern, so we can't make it all the way to the back from there. We could also try red. Yellow is over that way. I don't want to lose too many steps here because we will be going through some rooms. Purple and green. Now, I've looked at the map, and we've walked this a little bit, but there's no way that in my rambling through here the last 3 episodes you would have gathered the path. But I've noticed that green dead ends rather quickly. So we're left with purple, yellow, blue, or purple, yellow, red, and orange, and then of those, the yellow path also dead ends quickly. So it has to be the other 3. It just has to. So I'm going to start at this end and work on making a path through orange. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of like back and forth looking. So we're going to start here. Go here. I hope this works. This might not because I might have screwed something up, but we'll see. We have to go through this room, find the orange one out. And now this way, I believe we're just going to take all the way down and then turn right after this lantern. And then we're going to go left. We're going to go right into the dining room, and then we're going to do one of these. Do we go straight? We do go straight, then we need to go through the foundation, which should be right here. Sorry, I do have to rely on notes for this. There are multiple paths, and they're all rather complicated, so I just don't have it memorized like I do the other puzzles of the game. Then we should be able to go through here and all the way around the edge of the map for a bit. Gosh, I hope this works. It's just a little finicky, and I'm sure I have it. I just haven't crossed. I'm actually not sure how the game counts it. I think we need to turn left here. Yep, and then we should be able to go straight to the... this should be the chapel? Yes. So then we should be able to go straight to the vestibule, and this should work. Did that do anything? I don't think so. I might have screwed it up. Seemed like I did it correctly. Alright, let's head back to the start here. I don't know. I'm going to try the other path. I'm going to try the red one. That one also works. So this should start here. This one immediately turns right. And then we should be able to go down a couple here. No, we have to go through here. And then go down the long hallway all the way until it turns purple. And we're going to enter... No, we're not going to enter a room. We're going to move through here. And then turn left again once we reach this spot. And then we're going to go all the way down to this dead end and go through the room inside, which I believe gymnasium. There we go. And then we're going to take this up. And we should be able to make it to the vestibule this way through the archives. That's it. This is really confusing to me, even though I have, in fact, can't go that way. Have to go through here. Even though I've, in fact, looked at a map and all sorts of stuff. Okay, well, that worked. This was not the true path. Oh. Well, let's try the purple one. I don't know what will happen when I do the purple one, but let's give it a shot. Let's see. Am I heading? Where am I heading? This to purple. I want to go this way. So I'm going to start on this side once I get it going. It's a little bit of a confusing maze, don't you think? If you're having trouble following along, I'm very sorry, but you're just going to have to deal with this. Everything is blue. It all looks the same. This is a path, I guess. Let's head down to the yellow here. And this will take me back to the beginning. So let me try a purple path. So we're going to head this way. We're going to start by going into the maid's chamber. We're going to go straight through the drawing room. Okay. We'll go around and through here. This should take me around a corner, and then we'll go through the whatever type of hallway this is, and then we are going to go through the passageway and around. Now we should turn left at this hall, and then right. I suppose like a really savvy Let's Player would figure out a way to do this without having to consult a secondary source, but I am looking at something else right now. That's just how this is. That's just looking at that. Pump room is correct. I hope this works, because it could be like the orange one and nothing could happen. So this should take me in. Yeah, that worked. This is not the true path. So was the orange the true path? No, it's not. I know, because I've looked at this ahead of time. It just, for some reason, didn't give me the door, so I must have made a wrong step somewhere. So all of these just tell you, sucker, you went the wrong way. So that's what the hidden hue says. Now back to the puzzle that I said last episode was this one, and it was in fact a different one because I'm very confused about this puzzle. It's just very confusing. So it says, hold on, now I gotta pull up that thing. 1 second. Through lantern light in sketches cast a tint of truth to find our path, a hue of wisdom to turn us right, a shade of rain to pass the light. Through lantern light and shadows past, we seek what's left of the lies we cast. Okay, now I have to pull up a completely separate one here. Okay, this is tricky. So what we're actually supposed to be doing here is finding a different path. So when it says through lantern light sketches, whatever, sorry, that's not up on the other monitor now, it's a different thing. It is saying we have to find a hue, but instead of saying we have to find one hue that takes us all the way through, because that's not the true path, we have to find a path through multiple hues. So once you try what I've just done and see that it doesn't work, you have to figure something else out. So the way this is going to work, now I got to pull it up again. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Pull this up. Through Lantern Light and Sketches, cast a Tint of Truth. We're supposed to work out Tint of Truth, a particular color. Then a Hue of Wisdom to turn us right. We need to find a Hue of Wisdom. We also need a shade of Rain to pass the light. We need something to do with rain, and that tells us to go straight. We need something about shadows past. We see what's left of the lies we cast, so we need something for that. This is where it gets a little bit kind of wishy-washy here. So Tint of Truth is blue. We need to start here. That kind of makes sense. Like, blue has been associated with me. It's been associated with, like, the correct thing for a lot of ways. It's also, blue memos are always true. See what's left of the lies we cast is a bit trickier. Red is associated with lies, so we're supposed to get it from that. So if we reach a red lantern, we need to turn left. Hue of Wisdom. That one is a little harder to come by. Like, Hue of Wisdom, we could say, well, Carrerica is associated with that because it's the university place. We looked at that for other puzzles. It was Carrerica University. It was the educational motes on the sigils puzzle, all that kind of stuff. Also, in the Morajai box that had the word wisdom, it was an orange Morajai box. We needed to solve it with orange corners. So I guess you could say that's a hint that we're going to be turning right at orange lanterns. So we start at blue, turn right at orange, turn left at red, and then the shade of rain to pass the light, we can say, well, there is a place that was rainy that we got from the sigil puzzle. That's Iraja, which is associated with the color purple. This all feels really, really weak to me. It's kind of like it's there. There's enough of a hint that you could say, yes, I can see that this is the intended solution, but it does feel like the way to get to that intended solution is to kind of fiddle around until you guess something that feels right. Let me pull that back up again. So I'm going to make sure I have this right. It is going to start into the pantry, right? We start... Okay, we do have to start... Okay, yeah, that's the part that always is tricky. So I think we start the blue lantern, but what way do we go? We have to go into here. So I'm going to try to do this right. I could mess this up. We'll see. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to see this. Left. We're going to go right. I think I did this right. See what's left of the lies we cast. Yes, right. Right again. Left. Left. This is a bit odd. Straight. Right was orange. Right. I think I'm going the right way. I don't remember. It's been a while. This should be left, straight, straight, and then we're going to turn left into this room. Which, if you somehow were cognizant enough when I was stumbling around here the last 4 episodes, there's no door here. The fact we've taken this means it adds a door. This room was not here before. This is room 46. We have one more Morajai box to solve. Good grief. Okay, how do I do this one again? So orange has to turn into blue. That is for sure. So I do need to rotate. Oh, I might want to rotate like this. So then I could do this. Okay. Let me put this here, maybe. And then now we got 4 of those, and it should just be fine. Thank you. Blue. That doesn't tell us anything. Where was the thing again in here? You could tell how much I've like looked at the game as this playthrough goes. Like the early game stuff, I'm really confident at the solution to everything. And the late game stuff, I'm like, was there something here or was this it? Was it just basically like, you solved the puzzle, now get out of my house? This is room 46. I'm just going to double check because I don't remember if I don't think there's anything in here. I think that was it. Could have sworn there was something. It's been a while, and I only saw this once. No, I think that's it. Isn't that wonderful? Blueprints, everyone. We solve it, we get blue. But this is kind of how the game works. You solve a puzzle and it doesn't like give you a prize, it just gives you another puzzle. But this is the end. This is the end of the line. So we did it. We found the true path. We found this. The whole purpose of the atelier, I guess. Oh, no, there it is. I was like, I know it's in here, but I guess I thought it was over there. It's in here. So this is the last will and testament of the Baroness Oravai. So once again, you solve puzzles. You don't actually get anything. You just get more lore and more puzzles. So it says, I, Oravai of Mount Holly, architect, mother, and reluctant baroness, being weak of body but of perfect mind and memory, thanks be to Orinda, do make and ordain this document my last will and testament. As I commit my final wishes to paper, may it be done so in the tapestry and color of my life's work. May it be written under the tree of creativity and in the shade of truth that has sheltered my loved ones from the villainy of country and countrymen. In that same spirit of defiance, I hereby revoke all wills and codicils heretofore printed on common hueless parchment. I, first, being somewhat religious, give my soul to Rinna, my ashes to Vea, and my remainder to Man, as will be detailed in the pages and clauses that follow this foolishly superstitious passage. In the second order, should my husband, Baron Thomas Sinclair, survive me, I grant to him his choice of sentimental keepsake he may wish to retain in remembrance of me. As our union was never founded on material dependency, I make no provision for his future, nor for my eldest son, Herbert S. Sinclair, as he will in due course inherit his father's titles, enterprises, and fortune. However, the estate of Mount Holly, its many floor plans and storied secrets are mine and mine alone to grant, and I have neither pledged nor suggested it will be granted to either of my children. Further details concerning its disposition to follow. I do, in the third order, bestow upon my youngest son, Simon, my library, including its books, manuscripts, and musings, for I have long believed that Simon, much like myself, finds greater delight in the realm of imagination than in the mundane realities of everyday life. I hope he cherishes these books, for within their pages lie doorways to endless worlds of wonder and knowledge. In the fourth order, one that I suspect will intrigue those I leave behind far more than the previous provisions, I hereby bequeath the entirety of the aforementioned estate, Mount Holly, to the individual that discovers the hidden room that contains the blue pages of this document, hence styled the Blue Testament of Oravai. It is my firm belief that the challenge of uncovering this secret far outweighs any other measures of worthiness, and thus I entrust my beloved home to the deserving successor without regard to the years that may pass or their familial connection to my descendants, who may have incidentally assumed possession of the estate in the interim. In the event that any of my relations or future kin are living on the estate when this worthy successor locates the Blue Testament, measures shall be taken to ensure their continued residence without fear of eviction or forced removal. The estate, being of generous size, is more than capable of accommodating multiple parties without inconvenience. It is with the understanding, however, that preparations for eventual relocation should be made, as such leniency will not be afforded to subsequent generations. I do hereby constitute and appoint my colleague and fellow practitioner of architecture, Quarteress Alicius Aaron of Trinsdale, the exclusive charge and office of executrix of this instrument. If ever the 46th room of my Mount Holly is discovered and the Blue Testament of Oravai be delivered unto her hands, or unto any of her descendants, I do ordain that they shall bear sole dominion and discretion to override and render null any and all prior arrangements heretofore made in my stead, or in the name of my seed. I trust in her and in the generations that follow her to fulfill this role faithfully in steadfast adherence to the wishes laid out in the foregoing pages of this document. Lastly, I leave a final message to my worthy successor. You have reached this final room. You who unearthed these pages hidden amidst the blueprints buried beneath cryptic words and the prophecies of the past. You who have spent countless days wandering the chambers and passageways of your own curiosity, scouring for clues, hoping for answers, striving for that which you knew might forever elude you. To you for whom satisfaction is a fleeting companion, to you who stands now at the end of your journey, triumphant, exhausted, and justly proud, to you I grant that which in life I have given no other, my esteem. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 16th day of April 1952, Oravai of Mount Holly. Okay, a lot going on here, and another one of those, okay, I solved this huge puzzle, I get nothing, I just get this thing, and it says, oh, I get to keep the house. I already get to keep the house because of what Uncle Herbert said, right? Well, this is where a little bit of speculation comes into play, I guess. My personal belief here is that Herbert knew about this. The only reason is that his will matched hers a little bit too closely. That if he knew about this, but he didn't turn it in for some reason, and he's leaving it to us to find, which is why the game doesn't start when we reach room 46 inside the house, because that isn't the hidden 46th room. This is. The room I'm in now is the hidden 46th room of the estate. It has this will that says, I now own the house, according to the Baroness Orovai, because according to this will, Herbert didn't really own the house. She didn't give it to either of her children, and she said specifically in here that whoever finds this will gets to own the house. And if someone else is living there in Mount Holly at the time, they don't get evicted, but they do not get to inherit the house. They do not get to pass it on to their descendants. So Herbert basically was a squatter. He didn't own it, unless he found this document, but even then, he has to turn it in order to really inherit the house. It's speculation. I don't know why you would do this. Like, why Herbert wouldn't just turn it in and say, I own the house. But I guess he wanted us to find these secrets. It's possible he was a little bit too connected to some of the political machinations going on. But whatever the case, by finding this, now I, Simon, have finished the game. I have finally found room 46. I finally had something to prove. I found the room. I'm giving it over to the descendant of Corduress Alicius Aaron of Trinsdale at some point to say, I now own this entire estate according to this will. And that's about all I can say with that, I think. That's about as simple as I can make it. But I think that's what's going on here. One of the reasons why when you finish the game the first time and you get into room 46, the game doesn't be like, well, you actually did it, you own the place now. That it continues because you didn't find everything yet. This is the will you have to find. I don't know, that's a guess. Which, nothing happens though. We don't get an end credit sequence for that, and we don't see anything, which is another reason why I'm not totally sure if I've even solved this. Maybe I still haven't solved it. I don't know. But if you start looking stuff up for blueprints, because, you know, I get here and I go, am I done with the game? Is this over? Well, that's what we all think. There's still some unfinished business. Hold on, let me look it up. I have multiple pages open here. Let's see. We didn't touch the message, these vying plans forge barren crest among you and blessed. We don't actually know if that references this puzzle or if it references something else. Let's see. There's also... no, there's some stuff that's very speculative. People are trying to speculate on translations of different word arrangements of this blue area. They're trying to speculate on the draft order of things, trying to see if there's something about this room that'll, you know, trigger an end sequence. But it looks like no. It looks like this is it. Which is a strange way to end, but this is the true end of the game, is finding the secret 46th room, as Herbert declared in the will from the beginning of the game. This was our goal here, not the one in the house. After all, Denny Ravain found the one in the house. It said so in his diary that we read many, many days ago. So why did he not get to inherit the house? Although, of course, Herbert said it goes to me provided I find it. But Denny already found the room. Like, it wasn't a secret room that was hidden anymore. It was well documented. And there were levers all over the house to it. It was this place that no one knew about. Probably only Herbert knew about it, and he wanted us to find it eventually. So there you go. That's Blueprints. That's the whole game. We got there in the end. I mean, especially toward the end when I stopped remembering what I was supposed to do. But yeah, I really, really like this game, obviously, why I did an entire playthrough of it. For those of you who watched the whole thing, thank you very much for doing that. I hope it inspired you at some point to get the game for yourself and play it, because it really is a fun game to figure out on your own. Some quick, I guess, like, review things to say, maybe turn this into a slight review. I mean, I would give this a 5 out of 5, I think, as far as game design goes. This is one of the best games I've ever played in my life, in my opinion. And the way I like to rank things, I do it out of 5, and I don't give high scores very often. Like really good games I love get still only at like a 3 out of 5. This gets the 5 just for the sheer brilliance of the design and the layers that are in there. Both from like a plot perspective, there's a lot of layers to uncover, as well as from a puzzle perspective. Because you start out just, I'm trying to get to the back room of the house, and it's all about drafting. And at some point, the puzzles become a lot more, well, difficult. Yeah, there could be some criticisms leveled, which I will now level, which is the puzzles toward the late game once you've solved the main, the first bit. They're increasingly reliant on RNG. Uh, that's just how the game is, though. There's really not a lot. I'm not going to complain about the RNG because that's how the game is. It'd be like saying I'm rolling a die, and if you roll a 6, you win, and then you complain that that's RNG. Well, that's just what the die is. That's just what it is. If you don't like that, then this isn't the game for you. But if you come in and say, well, Blueprint shouldn't have so much RNG, it's like, well, if I roll a die, it shouldn't be a 1 in 6 chance to roll a 6. That's a stupid thing to say. That's what the game is. However, it's still very frustrating. It's still very frustrating to be like, okay, in order to solve this, I need a vault key. But to get a vault key, you need a bunch of things to go right. Um, and we didn't struggle too much with it. We did have to play a bunch of days getting nothing, but um, we got it after a few days. Any puzzle I wanted to go for, it only took a few days to get some sort of step towards finishing the puzzle because, well, I could plan ahead and I knew exactly what I needed and I could make sure I had multiple routes to get there, whereas a lot of players are just kind of stumbling around, unsure of what they need to do to solve a puzzle, and that can be frustrating because, well, it'll feel like you're just waiting for the game to give you a high roll, to roll a 6. But that's not what it is. If you know what you're doing, you can mitigate RNG quite a bit. And there's only a few puzzles, such as getting the vault key, that really suck if your RNG is bad. So that's one of the biggest complaints leveled against the game. But honestly, it doesn't do that complaint doesn't mean a lot to me. It's just like, well, that's what the game is. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Uh, I don't know. I've heard some other criticisms, but that's really the only one that in any way I mind. That's the only part of the game I mind. Is the RNG. Otherwise, I think the puzzle design is excellent. I love the art and sound design. I think that the lore is great. I mean, it was made by one guy, so you know that's really impressive for that. And I'm not even saying like it's impressive for one guy. It's an impressively made game. And then when you think one person was the artistic vision behind it, yeah, he'll hire out people for sound. He'll hire out people for this, that, and the other. But it all came from one guy, and that is amazing. Um, and he spent 8 years making it, if you haven't heard. So a real labor of love, and I hope he gets all the money in the world for this project. If you liked this at all and you thought I should play the game now that Key of W has spoiled the entire thing, I should try it for myself. You should totally give this guy your money. He's totally worth it. Do I have anything else to say? No, I don't. I have nothing else to say. I've completely finished my obligation to you. Yeah, I'm done with this playthrough. I'll pick another game at some point and do things. That's it. Bye.